right, welcome everybody to our first Discovery Doctors online meetup. Today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the potential of product discovery. And there will also be room for all of your questions. So just save them to the end, and let's have a nice conversation over lunch. Maybe a really quick introduction about who we are. We are recently newly founded company. Cyril and I, we know each other from another company called Scrum Facilitators, where we're Scrum trainers, and also in our classes, but also in our own careers as product people. We have experienced that we just struggle with the parts that we call product discovery, or we often neglect it a little bit too much in our experiences. And out of passion of those experiences, we decided to found a new company. That's Discovery Doctors. And our aim with Discovery Doctors is to help product managers and their teams to uncover better ways to apply product discovery that unlock a higher level, higher ability to innovate, while you also remain fast, because you also want to be fast to the market and not be outperformed by your competitors being there over there first. We will do that in several shapes. First of all, we will provide very hands-on training, both public and also in company. I'm saying hands-on because we will always do that based on your real product and help you apply these practices to your own product. But we can also do that in the shape of discovery coaching within your company or even interim product management. So yeah, I'm not sure if you want to add anything at this point.
Yeah, and what's also really nice, based on our experience, we know most organizations are not yet product-led organization, and yet discovery is very important. So we can also connect it to how to use it in Scrum, for example. Oh, that's it.
Thanks. All right. Then over to our talk for today. Again, right, if you have any questions, just raise your hand or we can do it at the end. But we always like when it becomes an interactive session. So really don't hesitate, please. And for today, first of all, I would like to introduce you to our friends. I have a question for you. What do you think is the slowest at Scrum Facilitators, also now at Discovery Doctors? We all love food. We have some other foodies in our group. They are not here today. Celia knows who I'm talking about, but we always talk about food. So we thought like, okay, let's take that as an analogy. Which mammal is the slowest eating mammal on our planet? What do you think? The slowest eating?
Yeah, put it in the chat. Let's see.
Just put it in the chat. Oh, Paul, you're really good.
Yeah.
Bullseye in one attempt. Indeed, it's the sloth. It always is a lazy animal hanging on a branch, right, at a tree, and then very slowly eating some leaves. Then let's turn it around. What do you think is this one is more difficult? So that's why I started with the slowest eating one. We know that one. But what is the fastest eating mammal on our planet? And it can eat really fast. Anybody has a clue? It can consume food in just 120 milliseconds. It's a super fast eater.
That's even faster than home. A mole? Ooh,
And you're really close, Jose. How? What kind of mole?
He doesn't know.
It's a star-nosed mole, this friendly-looking fellow. I can tell you, if you Google him, he looks a little bit more scary, I must say, a little bit like an alien, because this nose has like a strange star shape. You should Google it, but it can eat super fast. And today you're going to meet our friends, the star-nosed mole and also the sloth. There he is. Of course, in the context of our profession, product management and product discovery in particular. So, Zerian, over to you about start out small.
Yeah. So when we look at product discovery, there are, of course, a lot of reasons why to do product discovery. And if we look at from the mole perspective, so what kind of behavior, what kind of things are there if you're looking at from a mole perspective? And obviously, the mole is a fast eater, especially the star-nosed mole is fast eater. So what kind of behavior is it? So you'll notice that in organizations, when there is a star-nosed mole in product thinking, um, you can click all of them, Kai.
There they
You'll
come.
s- you'll see that it will go fast and deliver. So there isn't any time to really think about it, think things through. It's action, 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 action. The faster, the better. It's all about delivery, getting to the customers as soon as possible. But you'll also notice that in these organizations that when you want to bring the topic of let's have a conversation with the customers first, you'll notice sentences like we already know what the customer wants, right? And this might sound familiar. Um, and sentences like, "Hey, why are we discussing this much? The customers, we already know what they want. By the time that we have set up a meeting, we've already developed this feature. So just go with it." Um, and also the fact that they really think developers should not be talking to to the customers or be in the validation or in discovery process. It's more about a if the developers focus on creating stuff, then we can deliver fast, right? Um, and what you also notice is these product managers, they go to a conference and they see a shiny new thing, preferably AI or maybe something else even. But often when these product managers go to a conference or go to a meetup or whatever, they come back inspired and want to implement it as soon as possible, right? Why? And they will just say, why not? Right? So these are all good behaviors because this will make you deliver fast, right? So validate your assumptions as soon as possible. On the other hand, there are also some risks with this. And if you look at the risks, yeah, just click them all through as well. You'll notice that there are a lot of features being developed where the customer is not using it, right? Or they don't understand it because you haven't paid a lot of attention to it. The customer satisfaction is impacted because it's not, um, yeah, it's not validated. It's not discussed with them. Um, their customer satisfaction is low. High operational cost. Often we also see if there is not enough time spent in um, validating in discovery process, then you will see that the operational costs get really high. And with operational costs, we mean like the call centers, for example. They get a high volume of calls, and not to imagine the spaghetti code creating of technical debt, right? Because it has to be delivered today. Right? We cannot wait. This is high-end stuff. We need it right now, which obviously can also relate to high defect rate because there's no time to do quality check as well. Um, and this part is something that most organizations do not focus on, but it's actually there. The cost of delay because you cannot spend time on more valuable work. So there is no process going on about, okay, so what is the thing that we really need to work on? What is delivering the most value? Well, obviously, then you have a cost of delay. Um, and ultimately, there's also chances on going bankrupt. And we have a few examples of things might be better. For the ones who are in our office, who have been in our office, we have new coffee machines. The coffee is amazing. That's something that I can tell. Um, but every now and then we have to clean it. Why? Because on the left side you see that we select coffee or we select cappuccino, for example, or latte macchiato or whatever that needs like the foam foam milk. And then instinctively we put our cup in the middle, right? And believe me, this has happened more than once. I can tell you, I won't name any people, but his name starts with H, ends with Ong. He has done this like three, four, five times even before he has realized, oh, wait, I have to put it on the right and not in the middle. Right? And just the other day, we had a liberating structures workshop here at our office, and our host, my sister-in-law, she said, you know, this is happening too often. Let's just put a cappuccino heart post-it on it, and then people will know. Just such small stuff, right? Just to validate this. How does it work? How it doesn't work? And in terms, if we're taking the same machine, we're talking about creating unnecessary stuff. You see, the cooler on the right can be sold separately, right? So, but when I buy the machine, you get like the hose for the milk. You get with it. And then later on, I decided to buy the cooler as well. And I got another hose with it. So now I have two, and I have no idea what to do with the second one. So there's also thinking about, okay, in the discovery process, how can we make it more efficient? How can we make it better? So from the coffee, making the link to working on your computers. So if we go to the next one, and Kai, you are a Mac user. I hate Mac. So this is an example that you
Absolutely.
can that you can do.
Yes, and when this feature came out, I was about to get a new MacBook from my employer, and I was totally lyric about it. I was like, "Wow, this is a great innovation! This emoji toolbar. You might have used it yourself. You might also have noticed that in the latest models of MacBooks, it's gone again." Because what happened, it basically impacted the more fundamental need of having a user-friendly and easy to use keyboard. Because all of the time people would just accidentally touch the interaction bar and would put all kinds of weird emojis in serious messages that they were sending around. And clearly that didn't land as Apple anticipated. And you know that Apple, Steve Jobs, of course, wrote about it, is known for not doing too much discovery and more inside out from a design vision, deciding how their products look like and how you interact with their products. And usually they succeed with that. But this is a really nice example where they might have benefited from a little more or better product discovery to figure this out before they decided to add it to the next product generation. And then Zayan, you have one more to share.
Yeah, so just last year, Sonos made a huge mistake. So what happened is I really like Sonos. The quality is good, the app was good, everything was good until they updated on the new app, right? So it was terrible. Um, so what actually happened there is that they released an app for everyone with buggy software, a lot of defects, major functionality, which was there, was not there anymore. So there was a lot of complaints going on at Sonos. It actually led to hundreds of layoffs at Sonos, the CEO resigning, and even more people from the board resigning as well. And why? Because they wanted to boost the sales to launch a new headphone just to have that opportunity of launching the new headphone, a new app was needed as well. So for that, they released a buggy and crappy software, which, like I said, it didn't let them to bankruptcy, but it wasn't neat either, right? So just in these cases, like could have you could they have done better if they focused a lot more on discovery in this case, right? So these are some examples from the star-nosed mole, but we also have like the sloth.
So
Go
now
ahead.
knowing the star knows more, you can maybe imagine what a slot and product thinks. The slot wants to know things for sure before he moves on, right? The slot wants to analyze, slot wants to A/B test, and the slot almost always says, "Yeah, we don't really have enough data yet. This is tricky. Let's run another experiment. Maybe we even need scientific proof." Oh, the last one is still from the mall. But what I also sometimes hear the slots say is, hey, we need an external research agency. We need to think bigger in how we do research before we move on to delivery. And you can then imagine that if you get stuck in this analysis paralysis, as we call it, that it can also, that you're risking some consequences. You see here the slot not being so happy, right? He is holding a stopwatch and time has run out. So if you think about time running out, then we can of course think of no innovation anymore for existing products. Sometimes at some point they just stop innovating and then the competition catches up, right? Or in case of completely new propositions, you're just too late and a competitor is there first and gets the traction in the market. And more with an internal view, what you can also experience if you, as a product manager, act as a sloth, is that at some point you will get very frustrated stakeholders just losing their patience and no longer listening to you and trying to find alternative routes to get what they want because you're taking too long to move on to delivery. And same for your team, right? It's also not motivating for a product team, for developers, for designers at your team, if you're just analyzing and never delivering, uh, putting your work into the hands of real customers. So also slots risk bankruptcy. We often criticize the star no small, but also the slot is not always a good animal to have in your product team.
So basically, Kai, it doesn't matter what you do, the risk of bankruptcy is there anyway, right?
Anyway, yes. And then Zayan, you brought this example here today from your own experience at KPN.
Yeah, so in 2015, I was working at KPN as an internal agile coach and at the TV department. So what happened there is we went into agile transformation, and one of the main reasons for the agile transformation is that the CEO of KPN got really, really, really angry because Ziggo launched a new functionality before KPN did. Um, and the funny thing is, I believe it was about making recording. But the thing was, it was already developed and it has been uh, um, ready to release for 1 year already. So the functionality was there. But because of the sloth behavior, like, okay, no, but we need to analyze, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do. So they lost the opportunity, and Ziggo got in front of them as well, and it led to a lot of lost customers because they went to Ziggo instead of going to KPN. Um, so yeah, so this is an example of being too late.
Speaking about being too late, I guess we all know, right? I think you can also put Nokia here on this screen, but clearly Apple and Android have won the mobile OS war by being there first. By the time that Windows Phone entered the market, it was already too late. Now, I don't have the insights into Microsoft to know if that was due to a slot being active or just due to starting this endeavor too late. I don't know. But at least it's also another example of absolutely being too late on the market, potentially caused by slot behavior also in this organization. And maybe while we head on to the next part, having a look at how they can succeed together, I would like to invite you as the audience, if you have any slot or star no small examples from your own experience, we would love to learn about them. So while we continue, please feel free to add your experience or examples in the chat. Then back over to you, Zerian.
Yeah, okay, because ultimately, like I just jokingly said, it doesn't matter if you're the mole or the sloth, you'll both go bankrupt. Well, the thing is, how can we make sure that they collaborate, right? They coexist together. So there's actually one important question that, as a product manager, as a product professional, you need to ask, like, how big is your problem when you are wrong? Just assuming we are wrong, right? Because it's all in validation. It's all in the discovery process. Like it's all assumptions. How can we create it? So on the one hand, if you think, hey, if we are wrong, then we are losing a lot of customers. We're losing a lot of revenues. The net promoter score will go down. We'll go bankrupt. In that case, oh, maybe showing sloth behavior is a good thing, right? Let's chew on it, right? Let's chew on this before we make a decision, which is good because and just to give you an example, right? Within Scrum facilitators, we are all always thinking about, hey, should we do something with our name because it also only says Scrum, right? Because we do a lot more than Scrum. Um, well, if we change the name, that would cause a lot of friction, right? So that is not a decision to make easily, right? So that's a decision. Let's chew on this before we make a decision. On the other hand, if the problem that you are facing is minimalistic, is futile, like, all right, then why not do it? Just do it. Let's see what happens, right? Um, Sending out a newsletter. Hey, what's the worst that can happen? If it happens, hey, we'll just fix it, right? And there's where those two are connected, because then you need to think about, okay, how do we arrange this discovery process? So if you think about the whole process, the discovery process can be like done within 1 hour because you validate your assumption, or it can take up to weeks, maybe even months if that's really, really, really necessary, right? So, and I think this is something that as product managers or product professionals, you really need to think about. Um, let's do a continuous discovery. So it's not one thing that we need to say, okay, every 3 weeks we do discovery. No, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. Okay, so let's do it as often as possible, continuously, but really be mindful about should we do it as soon as possible or let's chew on it before we continue, right? And I think that's really, really important to do so. Um, yeah. And if we go to the next one, because there is a way to really think about how to do discovery a lot easier.
Yes. So spot on what you said, Zia. I always say discovery is highly situational, right? So you cannot apply one approach. You always have slot situations and star no small situations, but most often you're in this middle area where it would still be good to validate something, but you don't want to get stuck too long, right? And that's really where continuous discovery gets around the corner. And then when you start applying continuous discovery together with your team, um, you easily get lost in all kinds of activities, right? You have to assess which discovery tactic do I approach here, the slot or the star no small or something in between. And you have many topics going on. For some, you just go. For others, you take a lot of analysis up front. And how do you keep track of that? So you see here the slot who says, hey, but can we structure our thoughts here? If I just have this in my mind, and everybody individually has his or her own ideas on how we are applying product discovery, we easily get lost. But on the other side, the star knows more. He just wants no overhead, right? Let's not have another process in place that takes us hours a week as a team, right? So we want to keep it lean. But most of all, we want to ensure a smooth collaboration with our team members, but also with our stakeholders. So we're looking for a way to achieve that, right? So we travel on, we move on. A little animation. And there they are, the opportunity solution trees. Of course, not coined by us, right? They are coined by the amazing Teresa Torres. She has invented them. I highly recommend also reading her book, continuous discovery habits. It has helped me a lot in learning how to apply continuous discovery also with my product teams at Tado, where I worked until recently. And opportunity solution trees are a visual framework to help you structure your thoughts. And in the next steps, I can explain you step by step how that works. I hope you are excited. I know that the Slot and the Star Knows More are excited by now. Haha. Let's see how this works. Yeah. An opportunity solution tree. We have a very blank page here still because that's where you start. And of course, you have to see it as a tree, like a Christmas tree, being narrow at the top and wider at the bottom. And you start with your outcome at the top. Of course, the outcome is not yet generated. It's the outcome that you anticipate to work towards with your team and to achieve. So what are some do's for setting good outcomes together with your team? A good outcome is anchored to a business need, right? So you can clearly relate the outcome towards, hey, we want to drive more revenue for our business, or we want to drive less operational costs for our business, for example. So it's clearly anchored. You often see that companies use some framework like OKRs for these kind of goal settings. You can maybe take one of your objectives as your outcome that you want to work towards. And you, of course, want to make them measurable, because then you can also track your progress towards your outcome as you explore your opportunity solution tree further. And then, most of all, you want to keep it user-centered, but business relevant. So a good outcome is not a business KPI, right? A good outcome is something that you want to achieve in terms of value for your end user in the product that will then drive your business KPIs. So a good outcome says something about an improved experience for the customer with a clear, that's the anchor that I talked about, with a clear link to a business KPI. Hey, if we ensure that the average time to sale of our customers gets lower, then we will sell more products on our e-commerce website, for example, right? The value for the customer is a smooth shopping experience that's fast. The business value for us as a company is that we will simply sell more and earn more revenues. And on the other side, what are the don'ts in setting good outcomes? Don't put outputs there, right? So, and that's what I still face a lot of times in companies. Also, when we work with OKRs, we still define more output-driven objectives. What's an output-driven objective? Build this feature, build that feature, make the color black instead of orange, but it says little about the outcome that you achieve with that. And then the second one, don't use fake goals, right? So try to make it as explicit as possible so that your team really feels like, oh, this is something that we can move towards, and is also motivated by that outcome. And when you work with opportunity solution trees, you want to ensure focus for your team and focus also in collaborating with your stakeholders. So in an opportunity solution tree, you work with one outcome at a time. Of course, you can always start another outcome and then you start with a new tree, right? But by setting one outcome for your tree, you provide the necessary focus. And you'll soon see that's necessary, because even with just one outcome, the tree will get pretty big already.
And this is also in line in how we do Scrum, right? We don't have multiple product goals. We only have one product goal. We don't have multiple sprint goals. We only have one sprint goal. So it increases the focus. And the don'ts, the first one and the second one, those are really difficult, because if we don't want to make it vague, chances are that we go into output very fast. So it's not an easy thing to do.
Yes, we often really struggle here, right? And if this is set wrong, you make a really false start with your opportunity solution tree, right? So it's really important that you have your outcome right, and that before you move on with your opportunity solution tree, that you're aligned around the outcome. Not less than once, more than once, I've experienced that when we thought we were aligned about the outcome and had already moved on with the opportunity solution tree for quite a while. All of a sudden, a stakeholder came in the room and said, no, 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 no. That's not what we should be working towards. In line with our strategic change, we should be working towards this. Then you should stop, take a step back, and make sure that you realign around the outcome before you continue with any other parts of the tree. So let's have a look what comes next. So next comes the opportunities. It's a opportunity solution tree, right? And what's very common for opportunities is that that doesn't span one layer in your tree. A good opportunity solution tree at least has 2 layers of opportunities, often even more, until you reach the lowest possible level of opportunities so that you can pursue very small yet still independent opportunities with your team. So what you try to do is, first of all, you try to base them on real customer evidence, right? So not just on your ideas of what customers want. It's very important when you work with opportunity solution trees that you have very lean methods and methodologies in place to be connected with your end users. For example, do some weekly interviewing with your team. In my experience, if you automate that process, it becomes a lot easier and becomes really a habit to talk with your end users. But you can also think of one-question surveys or other very lean research techniques, as long as it's lean and fast, right? It shouldn't be an external agency that you have to wait for 2 months before they come back with a massive report. These kind of things, that's all way too sluggish and too slow. So you really want to lean on these fast validation techniques. In your opportunities, it's very important that you stay customer-centric, right? So, and you'll see that this is really difficult. I saw it in a recent workshop that I ran with a product team. They said, oh yeah, easy, we should not think about solutions. Within 2 minutes, they were putting solutions in the opportunity layer, really, within 2 minutes. And then kept happening again and again. Then after the session, said, gosh, this is more difficult than we thought it would be, because our thoughts are so ingrained into the solutions already that it's really difficult to take a step back and zoom into the real pain points and needs. Why is it that we want to do that? Is that because often when you take the time to analyze your opportunities, you will find actually different solutions that in the end prove to add more value towards these pain points that you surface by interviewing your users. Yeah. So try to stay away from the solutions. And then what you see here, you structure them hierarchically, right? So the big opportunities at the top, often we see that there's a little bit of a customer journey map. So often it explains the job to be done. So let's say we want to match students with internships, then the job to be done for the student is, hey, I wake up in the morning and next month I need to walk into an office where I start an internship. And then you try to map out all the steps in between that bring that student towards his first day at his internship. And that's often the top layer of your opportunities. But then you start talking with students and you start drilling down, where was it difficult for you in that process? What happened? Yeah, I didn't know where to look. I didn't know that there were websites for this actually. First pain point, right? So then you drill down in smaller opportunities. And you try to keep drilling down until you're at the lowest possible level. And then in the end, when you're at the lowest possible level, together with your team and your stakeholders, you want to prioritize your opportunities. And you prioritize your opportunities based on 4 factors. The first one is what Teresa also in a book calls opportunity sizing. Basically, that's the question. If we look at our entire customer base, how many of these customers are experiencing this problem or need? Is it 1% or is it 100%? That makes a difference, right? But then you also look at market factors. What is the competition doing? What trends do we see in the market? Company factors. Does this opportunity resonate well with our culture and mission, what we stand for as a company or not, for example? And the last one, of course, customer factors. So in the sizing, the opportunity sizing, we asked how many customers are affected. And in the customer factor itself, you ask the question, how badly are these customers affected? Will they cancel or throw away our products and stop using it? Or will they say, it's a pity, but I will still keep using the product because there's so many other nice features, for example. Yeah. So you can try to, for each opportunity on your tree, or at least the top level candidates that you consider moving on with, you can try to write down together with your team and stakeholders these factors so that you get a little bit more clearer overview of how to assess them against each other. Because in the end, you try to select one opportunity to proceed with. Then again, what we don't want to do with opportunities, again, we don't want to define them based on gut feeling, right? Really apply these lean user research techniques to get it from talking to your users. And we don't want to phrase them as solutions, right? But then the last one also is this more less clear one. You also don't want to, you shouldn't fall back into putting everything you hear in every single interview on your opportunity solution tree, because then very soon you won't be able to maintain your tree anymore. It will be a big chaotic mess. And then the tree itself loses its value, right? It's not nice to work with it anymore. So you really have to look for the patterns that you see. And you try to develop together with your team a good feeling for, okay, when do we want to really add a opportunity to our tree? Then in the next level, again, we pick just one opportunity at a time. Again, why just one opportunity at a time? Because you want to ensure focus with your team. Peeling down a opportunity into potential solutions and validating that is a full-time effort for a product team. If you start working on 2, 3, 4 opportunities at a time, you'll see that your efficiency gets lost, right? And you will just stagnate with your progress too much. So generally, you pick one opportunity and then you start generating multiple solutions. That's the next very important thing. And this is also often where in our passion for building nice features and products it goes wrong, because we already have a solution in mind and we only validate that single solution. But what it's about is that you actually compare multiple solutions with each other and figure out which one of these is actually the best. You do that in co-creation with your team, and you try to make that visual from the first moment onwards, right? So bring your UX designer or do it yourself, but start sketching as early as possible so that you make it visual. And then again, you compare and contrast, as also Teresa calls it in her book. So you're always talking about, is this solution better than this other solution? It's not the question, is this a good solution? Yeah. Then in terms of the don'ts, yeah, really take the time first for the opportunities before you go to the solutions. Don't jump straight to solutions. And yeah, it's also for me sometimes difficult. Don't fall in love with your very first idea, but take the time to evaluate multiple. So here, remember the star-nosed mole, right? The star-nosed mole can easily think, what an overhead. We have to also consider other solutions. No, I already know the solution. Let's do this one, right? And that's where you can throw the sloth in and say, wait, star-nosed mole, let's compare and contrast. Let's compare it with a few other ideas that we have. Now, and that's the bottom layer of the tree. How do you validate potential solutions in your opportunity solution tree? You do that by validating the assumptions below your solutions. Why the assumptions and not the solutions themselves? Because generally, assumptions are faster to validate. A solution needs to be designed, developed, and then you can validate it. But an assumption is something that you can just talk about, for example, with your end users. But before you start doing that, again, try to make it very explicit and make it visual so that you're fully aligned with your team and stakeholders on which are the assumptions that we're speaking about. Make sure that you cover the different risks of product management. So value risk, viability risk, usability risk, feasibility risk, and of course the fifth one, ethical risk. Often we pay attention to one or two of them and we forget about the other ones. So if you run these workshops, try to really encourage all participants to try to map risks for each of these categories. And in the next step, you can then figure out which of these are really the riskiest ones and select them for validation. Of course, don't end up being a sloth and validating all your assumptions, right? That's never possible. So really only take these that are the riskiest ones and then try to validate them fast. Don't do research projects of weeks, but really try to validate really fast. I know that teams that are well trained in this, they can really validate multiple assumptions a week, right? But then you need to be really hands-on and lean and experienced in how to do that in a fast way. Yeah, so the other extreme, of course, is that we don't do that and we just wait until we deliver what the star knows more tries to do sometimes. That's in general with risky assumptions, not a good idea. Also, again, you're right. Um, and that's how you benefit from visualizing things. We often assume that we all see the same risks or the same assumptions as being the most risky ones. Well, if you visualize and then discuss it together with your team, you'll figure out that often that's not the case, right? Somebody thinks, oh, this feasibility risk is the most important thing. The designer might think, oh, this usability risk is the most important thing. And you as a product manager still see some value risk out there, for example. So by writing that down together with your team and stakeholders, you can make sure that you're really aligned. And then again, don't try to test everything at once. Don't become a sloth over here. That's the bottom of the tree. And actually, then I handed. Oh no! First these four key benefits. Still, then I handed it back over to Zerian. So why do we want to work with opportunity solution trees? So first of all, what I just showed you, I really like. It's a very visual way of putting your thoughts together with your team and stakeholders on paper. And in general, that leads to a better alignment um, uh, with your team, also around the outcomes. It very clearly links the initiatives that you're working towards the most important outcome to achieve. And that then leads in the end to better decision making together with your team and your stakeholders. You can also really bring the opportunity solution tree, for example, to your sprint review if you work with Scrum, and there show the tree to your stakeholders, and don't only speak about the results of your experiments, but also speak about how your tree is built up, what the outcome is that you're working towards, what the main opportunities are that you're seeing out there, and what you have learned in the past 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah, it helps you improve better with your team. And in the end, what I just mentioned already, imagine that a stakeholder in a sprint review says, oh, I talked to one of our customers last week, and I see this opportunity. We should really do this. I'm sure if we do this, then we will earn heaps of money. And then
I
you
know what
can
our customers want, right?
exactly, and then you can show him the tree and look together with him towards the tree and ask, hey, cool, nice, thanks for raising this opportunity. Where in the tree does it fit? And then he might say, yeah, it's a little bit over there. And then you can say, hey, but we agreed to now focus. Remember, we explore one opportunity at a time, right? That's what we agreed. And we're now exploring this opportunity and not this area of a tree. We can do two things now. We can stop, take a step back and switch to another part of the tree, or we can first maybe finish validating this one. We're halfway now, and then we can, in the next round, consider this new opportunity that you just suggested. And in my experience, that's a very powerful tool to switch from stakeholder resistance into stakeholder collaboration, right? So it really helps to picture to them that it disrupts your work if you now straight away switch to that opportunity. And also gives them still a perspective, right? So, oh yes, it's an opportunity that will be added to the tree. And in the next round of prioritization, I will be involved, and we can decide to then also switch to my opportunity that I raised as a stakeholder.
Yeah.
So these are the four key benefits of OSTs. And then I hand it back over to Zillion for a final takeaway.
Yeah, I love these takeaways because these are like your one-liners which go on LinkedIn or which go on whatever, but they really make sense. Like if you want to do product discovery, don't ask for permission, right? Too often I see I see people, okay, but we're not allowed to contact the customers. Okay, why not? Just go outside and then find your customer. So don't ask for permission. Just do it. If you think it's valuable, then just do it. And the next one, start small, create success, and show it. And this is all about what Kai also just mentioned. Don't make it too big, right? Because it will take a lot of time. Good teams, they can do multiple a day even. right? They can validate the assumptions and so on and so on. So try to make it small, try to make it easy, and yeah. So that's it. And the next one, yeah. If you're talking about product discovery, especially for the star-nosed mole, it's a mouthful, Kai. It's a mouthful. But
We have to practice.
the thing is, it in the beginning it might feel like we are spending a lot of time in creating like our outcomes, our opportunities, our solutions, and so on and so on. But actually, it will not take you more than a day or two half-day workshops or three half-day workshops, right? But the thing is that you all only know the value when you have already done a product discovery successful, right? Because the organization already manages, but this will improve your organization capabilities as well, right? Right. And then it leaves us with one more thing is getting your value vitamins. And we hope
Ta-da!
this was valuable for all of you as well. And if you have any questions, we can ask them now. And if you have questions that don't fit within the current one, then we're here to help you.
Yeah, you can always scan this QR code or just go to our website, discoverydoctors.org. We provide free consultations, doctors as we are. So you can always book a free call with us without any obligation, right? It's not about then selling you something straight away. So don't hesitate if you have any more detailed questions about product discovery. We're really happy to have a conversation and see how we can help you move forward.
Yeah. In the chat, Rogier says you can always say sorry afterwards. Um, last week I was at a conference, customer experience event, hosted by our friends Next. It was in Rotterdam, and the final speaker was Ahmed Abu Taleb, which was the previous mayor of Rotterdam, and his message towards customer experience was actually fix it. Don't wait until the processes. Don't wait until the formal stuff. If something is ethical, if something is that you really, really believe this is what we should be doing, don't ask for permission. Just fix it, and then we'll manage it afterwards. Right? You did a good thing, and then we'll manage how to do it according to the process.
So, are there any questions or any experience from the group, right? We have our experiences, but I always also, I'm sure that you have your experience as well that we can learn from. Is there anybody who has a fun fact about product discovery or anything that you recently experienced or struggled with? We still have 7 minutes left, so feel free to drop it in.
So one thing that this session is also recorded, and if it meets the definition of done, then we will share with all of you as well, because we have no idea how the quality is. So if the quality is good, then we will share it.
Can it be bad?
Oh yeah, yeah. I did a recording once, and then the how do you say, sharing the screen was all blurred, so it didn't make anything. You couldn't see what was on a screen actually, and then it doesn't make sense. Or the sound was so terribly bad that we said, okay, no, then it's not good to share this.
Talking about user experience, right? You would expect a major conferencing tool these days to be capable of doing that.
Yeah,
Let's see how that turns out. Nice experiment, Zerian.
yeah, exactly. And it's also, if it means that quality, we don't want to become the next Sonos, right? Or actually, maybe we do. Sonos is really big, it has huge impact. Maybe we do want to become the next Sonos, but in the early phases.
And then do better, right?
Obviously, learn from them. We hope it was valuable for all of you, because
It was.
okay, thank you so much.